coming up quickly on the Thanksgiving season. In fact, by the time this video comes out, you may be starting to prepare for Thursday's Thanksgiving celebration here in the US. One thing that most households have in common here, at least in America, is that we enjoy a delicious turkey. As with any large meal, there can be quite a bit of food waste. And given how prices have been lately, we want to make sure to minimize that as much as possible. So today I'm going to show you what to do with your turkey carcass. So we were fortunate enough to gather with some family early for Thanksgiving. My cousin made a beautiful turkey. It was deliciously seasoned, perfectly cooked, and it just seemed a shame to let the carcass go to waste. So what I'm gonna do today is make delicious, nutritious bone broth out of this beautifully seasoned turkey. Now you can do this a number of different ways. Today I'm gonna be using the magic of the Instant Pot. My Instant Pot is one of my favorite kitchen tools for making bone broth, soups, and so much more. There's just too many things to list. But if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can do this other ways. You can put this into any kind of pressure cooker. You can put it into a Dutch oven, or you can put this into a crock pot. That would work just fine as long as it's big enough. There are so many possibilities that you can come up with when making bone broth. The basics of it are your bones. You can have meat on them or you can strip them clean. You want an acid. I'm using apple cider vinegar today. And you want plenty of clean filtered water. You can also add onions, you can add vegetables like carrots, celery, whatever you want to have in there. I tend to leave these aside and just go with the basics. That way I can season it the way I want later. This turkey does have a lot of seasoning already on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it plain and just enjoy the flavor. So this was a 22-pound turkey. That is not going to fit in this Instant Pot. I have one of the smaller models. So I've got boning shears. I'm going to go ahead and cut this up so that it can fit in here. Now here you can see inside the turkey there is, you know, pieces of onions, bay leaves, everything that he used to season the turkey. I'm just going to leave that all with it. That's just going to provide extra flavor. And I'm going to put it right into the pot. And there's still actually plenty of meat left on here, but even if you cleaned it off a bit better, you'd still have plenty of bones to work with. We've got a portion of the neck here that we're going to add in, and I can't tell you how many Thanksgivings I threw a bird away, and it always seemed a shame to me. Somebody raised this bird for a good portion of the year, and just seemed a shame not to put it to better use. So I'm really excited about discovering how to make bone broth. As you can see, I'm making quite a mess and getting very slippery. Use a lot of care when you're pulling these things apart. Now turkey skin is really flavorful when it's all roasted like that, so feel free to keep that in there. Okay, well here's the last couple of pieces. Okay, so I've got my turkey carcass in the Instant Pot here. I've got it filled up just about as high as it can go with bones. If I were to be adding vegetables and other things in here, I'd go ahead and do this at this point. Now I'm going to take some filtered water and I'm going to put as much filtered water in here right up to the fill line. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my apple cider vinegar and put just a dash of it in there. Probably the equivalent of a couple of tablespoons. I'm going to just eyeball it just a little bit. Now some people add salt at this point. I leave the salt out and taste the final batch of bone broth and salt it from there. I don't want to make it too salty, and I found that adding salt at the beginning can sometimes result in it tasting too salty. So I add salt when it's done. Now you have a couple of options. You can pressure cook this with the top on. You can slow cook it with the top on. If you're using a crock pot, you are gonna want to slow cook it for even a whole day, up to 2 days. The pressure cooker is quicker. It's gonna take about 4 hours. So I'm gonna put my Instant Pot on for about 4 hours and we're gonna check it and see if it's done. Now the reason that you add an acid to this bone and water mixture is because the acid helps to pull out nutrients from the bone and the tissue. You want a very gelatinous bone broth, and I have found that adding vinegar really helps. You don't want to do too much to the point where it tastes like vinegar. A little bit definitely helps. And now we wait. And just like that, our bone broth is done. These pressure cookers really are amazing. It looks really, really good. Yep, it smells incredible. Now our next step here is to strain the bone broth and let it cool down. This liquid is quite hot, so it needs to cool if you're going to freeze it like I am. Freezing preserves most of the nutrients in this. You can also pressure can it. So you would not want to pressure can in this. You would want to use an actual pressure canner, but you can put the strained bone broth into mason jars and go ahead and pressure can it on your stove top. What I have to do now is I have to refrigerate this overnight so that it cools down and all the fat goes to the top. We are going to skim that off. We don't want that in our bone broth. There's just too much of it. And don't worry, all these wonderful bones that we have sitting here, they are going to get mashed up and go to the chickens. It's going to help replenish their calcium and protein stores to get them through the winter. So this bone broth has been in the spare refrigerator overnight, and there is a layer of fat which has accumulated on the top. You don't need to remove it if you don't mind the fat in your bone broth. I'm going to remove mine today. And you don't have to throw this away either. It can be used for other purposes. I can tell already that this bone broth has turned out amazing. It's got a lot of gel in it, which is exactly what we want. I don't want to waste any of that good collagen. I'm not going to stress out about the small flecks of fat in here. There's just a few floating on the top, but look at how gelatinous this is. This is beautiful. and we are going to package this up and get it ready for the freezer. So I have purchased these BPA-free freezer-safe containers somewhere online. I think I got them off of eBay or something like that. But they are freezer safe. Pretty basic stuff, guys. Like I said, you can, you know, pressure can this bone broth, but I just feel like freezing is gonna get you the most bang for your buck nutrient wise, if you have the freezer space to do so. I know this time of year some of us are running short on freezer space, you know, with having garden produce and everything else that we've put up during the course of the summer. And that was just about a perfect 5 pints. Alright, so you can go ahead and label these, freeze them. It'll store a few days in the refrigerator. Once it's thawed, you can, you know, use it right away. Delicious turkey bone broth. Basically for free. Guys, this would cost probably anywhere from $6 to $8 in the grocery store for quality bone broth like this. I'm not talking about the runny stuff. I'm talking about stuff with real collagen in it, nutrient-dense food. And you just essentially got, you know, 5 pints of this for free off of your Thanksgiving leftovers. So what do you think, guys? I'm pretty excited about this. I just want to wish every one of you a happy Thanksgiving from Wojo Homestead. Thanksgiving is such a important time for us to remember the many blessings that we have, even during hard times. I know for some of you, Thanksgiving may be a bittersweet holiday. I know many of us are missing loved ones at the table that maybe were there sitting with us last year and they're no longer with us. I'm wishing you all comfort if that is you. I know that is us this year. We are missing my grandparents and Eric's precious grandmother who passed away just a few days ago. So we have to really be thankful for what we do have, and even though times are a little hard, a little chaotic right now, there is still plenty to be thankful for. So happy Thanksgiving from Wojo Homestead, everybody. Take care. Until next time, bye-bye.